Just Eff It. Hi, I'm Romy.
Hi, and I'm Carla.
And together we are the
EFFing
Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an Eff It moment. So here we go. Just Eff It. Good morning.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, Motivation Monday, Mamaradery Monday.
We're also back Monday. This is us coming back.
Yes, we're also back.
Like it's been.
We took a little break.
Yeah, it was good.
And I think we're feeling good. Had to catch up on some things, life.
Yeah, we've got like some great interviews set up. We've got some awesome moms that we've been like chatting with. So we were still doing interviews through the breaks. We've been talking to moms and scheduling moms to come on, and we're excited and feeling refreshed and inspired and all the things.
All the things. We both have different hair right now. I straightened mine.
I know, it looks good.
You lightened yours.
I think mine's getting closer to yours. Like it's getting a lighter look like yours though. But yours is so long right now.
I can't wait till it's past my boobs.
And I cut all mine off because that's the impulsive me. That's what I do. Right. So other than our amazing hair right now, who are we? What do we do? What is the EFFing Madres for anyone first time listening?
Okay, so she is Romy, I am Carla, and we are the EFFing Madres. We created this community of moms supporting moms through these big EFFing moments because we ourselves had ours and are still going through ours. So we wanted to create this to hear these amazing stories from other moms just like you and I and us that took these big changes or did these big steps in their lives to make a big change for them and their families, for better or for worse, doesn't really matter. It's just the fact that people taken that step and pushed past that, because taking that first step is always super hard to do. So we hope that hearing these stories will motivate other moms who are wanting to have that EFFing moment, who are in their EFFing moment, to keep moving forward, because it is a positive change no matter what the outcome is. So yeah, that's essentially what we are. I feel like we've changed it a lot, like in our explanations, but that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we just, honestly, it's a space of conversation. Mothers having conversations that matter, that inspire, and stories matter, right, guys? So for our Monday Madre and our story today, Carla, who do we have?
So we have Simone. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce her last name because I might butcher it, so I'll let her say it. But her EFFing moment, and I'm interested to see exactly why she had this, but she said her EFFing moment was deciding to summit Mount Kilimanjaro. And she said it left all her self-doubt behind. So I'm interested because I haven't heard a story like this from anyone. So doing those big things can definitely make you, it changes you, So I'm excited to hear what her story has. I also think, from what I remember, she's like an author. She's got a lot of accolades. So she was very interesting to me. So when I asked her about this, she was like, absolutely, I would love to be on. So.
You have my full attention. You had me after 2 kids. You had me after 3 kids. And I'm also somebody who is very connected to physical accomplishments that actually do a lot of spiritual stuff inside. I know you and I are both very physical, and it's very healing. So I'm excited to hear a story like this.
All right, everyone, we have Simone Canego, and I made the right choice of not saying her last name before. But we have her on. And Simone, we are just going to jump right into our questions.
Absolutely.
So our first question for you is, when did you decide to just Eff it, and why?
I struggled for a long time with self-doubt. Really had a hard time believing in myself. Didn't matter what I did in terms of where I was in my life. And it was a moment where I was asked to climb a mountain. Now, I am not an athlete by any means. I rarely go to the gym these days. I just turned 51. So, hey, but I need to get back into it. But I was asked to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, and completely out of my wheelhouse, something that I would have never put on a bucket list. And I said yes. And that was my moment where I said, I'm not going to listen to the voice inside my head. I am going to not listen to the naysayers as well. It wasn't just from me, but from other people, right? I mean, how many people said to me, do you really think you're going to make it to the top? No, I think I'm going to make it halfway. That's why I'm doing it. But that was constant. And so that was the moment where I said, I'm putting all of that aside and I'm going to truly believe in myself and I'm going to go for it. And I did, and I did it.
Wow. Well, how did that feel when you did that?
It was really a huge moment for me because I really felt like it was the first time that I truly believed in myself. And that moment made me realize that if we believe in ourselves and we put in the work behind something that we want to do, it's not just someone else wants us to do it, it's that we want to do it, then we can really accomplish what we set as our goals. We got to put in the work too.
Yeah.
I love that you said I'm not going to do it just to get halfway. Like assuming that like, yeah, I'm going to go for this just so I can like half-ass do it. No, I'm going to go for this because I'm going to fucking try and do it.
Yeah.
Like I just love that you threw that in. I think the question then, as she was saying, like, how did you feel? But so once you got this opportunity, you just basically like, what part of you was able, like, what did you do to get to that moment to just say fuck it and do it?
It was almost like I was challenging myself. I was thinking like, okay, this is something that I would never choose to do in any other realm, or I would have never thought about. And that was kind of that moment going through my head saying, oh, I wouldn't be able to do this. I'm not strong enough. I'm not fit enough. I'm all of these things. And that was the moment where I said, yes, you are. You can do whatever you want to do. Like, stop labeling yourself as something that, that doesn't matter. Like, you can do this. And that was really one of the most amazing feelings, is kind of taking a step back and saying like, you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously you have struggled, I struggle, Romy I know has struggled, and so many people struggle with that. Like we limit only ourselves. Like there isn't anybody else that stands in our way but ourselves, and it can be crippling. Like it is the worst thing that, and the sad thing is that we're doing it to ourselves. Like, so that's great that you were able to just squash all of that in your head, because that's a really hard thing to do, to not listen to those voices that you've been listening to for so long and be like, you know what, shut the fuck up. I am going to do this. I'm capable of doing this and I'm going to show you. I mean, I'm sure now when those voices pop in your head, you're like, no,
I
I don't
got
need to
you.
listen to you. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest changes that happened for me. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for that moment in time. I really changed kind of my outlook on everything. I mean, I wrote a book, I started speaking, all of these things that completely were not, I mean, I grew up, I went to school, I became an accountant, so like I was not a public speaker. And I realized that if you want to do something, if you love something, like, so that moment in time changed everything for me. And I really think it also really changed my family, my children, the way they look at things and say, like, okay, stop doubting yourself. And it's something that we talk about all the time now, where we didn't do that in the past.
I'm curious too. You said that someone or like presented this to you.
Mm.
Like so this wasn't something that you were looking for. It was kind of an opportunity that arose. Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of funny because a friend of ours had climbed Kilimanjaro the year before. He went with the Live Strong Foundation and they were putting together another team. And so he called my husband and said, are you interested? And of course, the way I tell the story is my husband said, 1, 2, 3, no, thank you, call Simone. And so it really did kind of fall in my lap. It wasn't something that I was searching for at all. And that's the moment when he asked me, I said, you know what? Yeah, I want to do this for me. I want to really push myself, and it changed my world.
I think that's so special, though, that sometimes in life, these things are presented to us. Like, we're not looking for them. So many times on these episodes, this is why I'm loving this, is we're looking for the change. We know what it is. We've got to go for it. It's like, I want this, so fuck it. I'm going to go get this. And I feel like in this situation, it was handed to you. And then you had an opportunity then to go, do I fucking take this opportunity? You know, it came out of nowhere. It's here. Here's an opportunity. And then to see what that did for you by saying yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what I always say to people is say yes. I mean, if
Yeah.
it's like, look at it and say, like, I want to do this. I really want to try something different. And my friends would say to me, well, if you don't make it, will you feel really bad? And I said, no, I won't, because I tried something completely different. So it's not about failures. It's about, everything is a bump in the road that leads you to the next thing. That's always how I look
Absolutely.
at it.
Absolutely. You have to at least try. Because we even say here, we want to hear from women that have had effort moments that haven't actually succeeded, because it doesn't necessarily matter about that. It's about making that mental shift and finally actually trying something and taking that first step. That is the hardest thing to do. So even if you failed, it doesn't matter. It's not about the failure. It's about what you've learned and
Mm,
being able to take that first step. So I'm
yeah.
curious, how did it make you feel when you decided, like that moment, yeah, I'm going to do this? How did that make you feel? And then how did it make you feel once you were finally at that top of that mountain?
I think when I first decided, I think it probably scared the shit out of me because I started I didn't really do enough research before I said yes, and then I started researching and I was like, "Oh, this is a lot. This is big. This is big." Like I live at sea level, so
Right.
19,341 feet is kind of a little bit different, and it's
Yeah.
cold. So I live in Florida, so I'm used to like extreme heat and humidity, which I love. So yeah, it was a scary moment, but that moment went on to the next moment. That moment was then in the past. And it was like, okay, now how am I going to accomplish this? Right. So it was, yes, scary and then move forward. And really that moment of getting to the top, it was such a powerful thing for me. I mean, I was also going with, it was all strangers. I didn't know anybody that was going. So
Mm.
I met all of there was 15 other people and I met them there in Tanzania. So
Wow.
that was really special as well. But then getting to the summit, it was that moment of truly believing in myself and saying, I can do all of these things that I want to do. I just need to put in the work. And I first of all, I have to want to do them. And it was like exhilarating to be at the top and think that I did this. Like I did this. And this is what believing in myself did for me.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's so special that you allowed yourself to experience something with a bunch of strangers,
Yeah.
that you didn't
Mm,
have your support system that we tend to lean on. There are times in my journey, and Carla knows this, where I'm like, I need you, I need you, I need you. I can't do it without you. And she's, very good at being like, go by yourself into the world, child, and figure it out. And I'm like, but I can't, I need you. And slowly over the last year, I've been taking those little steps of, okay, I can do this. Like, I don't need you. She's not going to hold my hand in the most loving way, but I can do this. So you also being able to kind of do that without somebody there, just in your own strength and your own power, and trusting the universe and trusting these strangers to take on this journey. I think there's so much beauty and growth in that. I can imagine, and I'm curious, like just a little part of that, like what that felt like to introduce yourself and put yourself in a space with like people you didn't even know in a scary moment for you.
yeah, it was fascinating. Some of the people knew each other because they were from the same town. So they and one family came, like there was a dad and his two kids and the daughter-in-law. So there were groups that knew each other. But I really lucked out because I was paired with somebody. So not only was I doing this, but I was also then had a tent mate. So forget like leadership on the mountain, but now you're sharing this tiny little space with someone that you don't know. And are you going to get along? And how is that going to work? And we actually just had lunch 2 weeks ago. Like we became really great friends. And that was another thing that I say to my kids all the time, like, don't miss an opportunity. When you sit down on
Mhm.
the airplane, talk to the person, when you like learn about people, like and to me that was so special. And it was really as a team. So that was the discussion. If one person isn't going to be able to make it, do we all stay back? Like, how do we do this? And obviously, when you're leadership with strangers is one thing, but then leadership with strangers on a mountain is something else. And everybody really stepped in when someone was struggling. We stepped in and helped, and it was so powerful to see how everybody was there to help each other. It wasn't just I'm going to make it to the top. It's we're going to make it to the top.
And
Yeah.
isn't that how we kind of want to be right now, Carla, as women? Is that like it's not she made it to the top or she made, but
Yeah.
let's all get to the top together.
Yeah.
Like that's so about what this podcast and our entire like everything that we care about right now is that statement right there. I
Yeah,
love it.
we as women, when we band together, I've said this like a zillion times, when we
Yeah.
band together, we're so powerful. I know that you were with men and women, but I'm just saying
Yes.
in general, when women for this, band together, we are so incredibly powerful together versus like us ripping us down and competing against each other, being jealous of each other. Like banding together, we can rule the world. I truly
Yeah,
believe that.
wanting us all to make it to the top, wanting
Yeah.
your team, not just you, but the people that are all in that journey with you to make it to the top. So I love this. My next question then would be, what did it do for your family? I know you touched on this a little bit, and we've heard this many times. Our kids then see us say fuck it, and they're inspired by these parts of us as women and mothers. But what did this really do for your family?
Yeah, I think it changed a lot of things for them, especially with so I have 6 children. I have 3 boys, 3 girls. And especially for the girls, I mean, the boys as well, but it was that don't limit yourself. Don't let anybody else limit you. And when they're struggling with something, they'll, especially my older girls, will reach out and say, okay, I need a word of encouragement here. I'm like, you got this. Like, don't listen to that. You can move forward on this. And I've seen incredible growth with them. I've also seen so much kindness, and that piece of, they used to tease me when I would sit down next to someone and talk to them that I didn't know, right? This stranger conversation. Of course, when kids are little, you're like, don't talk to strangers. But as we get older, like I said, you can learn something from everyone you meet. And so I see them doing that as well. So when I use the story of Kilimanjaro and climbing a mountain with people I don't know, they now kind of see that as inspiration to try new things and apply themselves in different ways than they wouldn't have, because it was so life changing for me. And same thing with writing the book. I was not a writer before I started writing. I mean, I went to school for accounting. I'm a CPA by education. And to completely change all that, I think they also look at that and say that, hey, if you want to do something, you can do it. So I've seen them change a lot in those respects. And my husband as well. I think that, we've been married almost 30 years now. And to see him kind of be like, wait, I think I want to try this, instead of just saying, oh, I can't do it, there's no way. I mean, men struggle with self-doubt as well. So,
Yeah.
Oh
it's
yeah.
really been so life-changing for all of us.
What an amazing way to have your family on all in all areas, in your marriage, for your husband, for your children, for you guys. 30 years, first of all, that's a podcast all on its own. Like how you did that, 6 kids, that's a whole nother episode. Like you're an inspiring human being.
Thank
But
you.
I'm curious, like, when you guys are evolving and growing and allowing change within your marriage, within your family, within your career, like that is beautiful. It's so beautiful. I think Jay Shetty's wife posted something this morning about like how our cells change every 7 years and then we change, ultimately we become new people. And so those people in your life, like your core family and your marriage that allow you to change
Mhm.
and make room and safety for you guys to just say, fuck it, I'm going a different route. It's so special, right?
And
Yeah.
it's not, for me, it wasn't even the allowing thing. Like my husband and I have always had the conversation that if you want to do something, we're going to support each other. It's not, you don't have to ask me for permission. Sure. I mean, there's times where I'll be like, okay, we need to figure out the kids. But in general, if you want to do something, let's figure out how to make it happen. But it's the support they gave when I've made these life-changing decisions. When I said, oh, now I'm going to start speaking and traveling for it. And my husband was always like, okay, how can I make your life better? How can I work with you on this? Which I'm really lucky. And the kids as well. I mean, sometimes it drives the kids crazy when I'm not home and, there's a lot going on, but in general, they've been really supportive of everything.
That's
I love
amazing.
that.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It is yes, you're very lucky to have a partner like that. I feel really bad for those women that have those dreams of wanting to do things, but they have someone that won't allow for them to grow essentially. And then they feel that they're stuck because maybe they have children together or whatever the case may be. So I like you feel very lucky I have a partner like that as well. He's supporting me in all the things that I want to do. So I'm so appreciative of that relationship. I'm curious to know, with all of this at the time, or maybe even still, do you have fears that come up for you now, or is that self-doubt totally
Mm.
completely crushed? And also the second leg to that is, how do you keep moving in that effort momentum and not allowing for those fears to hold you back?
So I think everyone, no matter what you're doing in your life, you always have those voices that creep inside your head. It's being able to control them and really making yourself realize that those things aren't real. You can make things work. You can make things happen. So yeah, I mean, do I have self-doubt? Yes. And then I talk myself out of it. I'll be like, this is ridiculous. Like, why are you worried about this? Do you want to do this? Let's do it. And so things that have worked for me really well. And if you would have asked my younger self, I would have laughed, but positive affirmations and evening gratitudes. Those are things that really make a difference for me. And my kids will sometimes see me like talking to myself in the mirror, and they're like, "Oh, here she goes again with her mirror moments." And but it really does. It has had such a big impact on me, because sometimes when you say things out loud, it really makes you believe it even more. I mean, we do that with other people, right? When other people are saying things to us, whether it's positive or negative, we start believing it the more we hear it. So when we do that with ourselves, I think it really makes, it helps us move forward when we have those moments where we're struggling.
Yes, that is 100% true. And like the mirror talk thing is actually, I've done that myself too recently for myself, because it's just, you're right. When you hear other people saying that to you, you do believe it. So why can't you believe it when you say it to yourself? But the more and more you do it, it becomes like you can change your brain. You can
Oh, yeah.
actually change your brain. Like there's that the whole neuroscience thing is a thing. It's super like amazing that you can actually rewire your brain. So the Mel Robbins high five thing, like in the mirror, it works.
It's just what you put into you, right? So
Mm.
I brought this up before, and I'll hit it quickly, but there's that documentary What the Bleep, which is about quantum physics, and it's where they like put certain words into the water to look at the cells and to see how beautiful it looked, and like how we're made of majority of water. And so like when we're putting those like words into us, like you can either see it like this, it becomes beautiful, or it becomes not so beautiful, because it's powerful. It's so powerful.
Yeah. And again, we need to believe in ourselves first and foremost. Like, that's really one of the most important things we need to do, because if we're going out there in the world trying to, whether you're a salesperson or whatever you're doing in your life, like if you don't believe in yourself, how are you expecting other people to believe in you? Right? Because you need to be authentic. You need to be real. And so it starts inside you. It starts with you, and everybody is worthy. Everybody has are there already. I always say we don't need to change who we are. We need to change the way we see ourselves, because we all have extreme value. Sometimes we just can't see it. So that's why those mirror moments for me are really important.
Thank you for saying that, because that is
Yeah.
a good reminder to hear. It really is. We are worthy. We are capable. We need to believe in ourselves. That is a great message.
I think the way she said it, though, that's like one of those quotes, Carla's, where she's like, "We don't have to change ourselves, but we have to change the way we view ourselves." What a
Yes.
beautiful like way to switch that
Yeah,
sentence. I just
absolutely.
love that.
We're gonna have to put that as a quote from you,
Yeah,
Simone, on our
yeah,
on
we are.
our
We're gonna quote that.
Instagram.
That's going on the Instagram. Don't forget that one, Carla. Write it
I won't. I
down.
won't. I won't. I
Okay,
won't
because
forget it.
that
I
was
did
like,
want
whew.
to. I did want to ask you, Simone. So you said that. Okay. So I know this isn't in line with the questions, but I'm very curious. So you said because you is it because climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, that is because that now you changed your route and you're not a CPA anymore. You are speaking and you have done, like, you've written things. It's because of that.
So that was really the beginning of my speaking and my writing. Now, I hadn't practiced as a CPA for a while. I was a mom. I did so many things in my life trying to figure out who I was. I started off in accounting, then I ran a horse farm, then I flipped houses, then I went back to school to be a teacher. So I mean, I kept on trying to figure out, like, who am I? How do I like my eggs, right? Who am I? And that moment really made me realize, what do I love? I love storytelling. So, and realizing that I had a story as well. That's another thing, is that I think a lot of times we don't realize that we have a story, and everybody has a story, but that story, when you share it, how it can inspire and impact other people is so important. So yeah, so it really brought me to where I am today. And a lot of my speaking, when it comes to women's empowerment speeches, I talk about how I was the woman sitting at an event wearing clothes that I felt uncomfortable in, thinking that everybody else, has this, everybody else is perfect, and which perfection doesn't exist, but everybody else is perfect. And I'm the only one that struggles. And so I think going through that process of saying that I truly believe in myself, I was able to push all of that other stuff aside. I'm not looking at myself saying, oh my gosh, you have so many wrinkles, or you have so much weight to lose, or those things are not, it's really about making myself happy for myself and not worrying about what anybody else thinks.
I think it's so special that you said that, like, you went through all of these. I can connect to it. I've gone through so many careers. I'm 41 now. I've been through so many chapters. I probably will continue looking for like who you know what I mean? I've tried so many things, and I have found, like, you at this point in my life, and I know Carla as well on a certain level, that the stories, like the storytelling, that is what hits our soul. It's like we've tried everything, and figuring out in this moment, her and I are both actually, I think, figuring out our stories, and that our stories matter, and that everybody has one, and that everybody's story matters. And if we share it, it's so inspiring for people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the part I struggled with the most. Was I didn't think for myself I had a story to
Mhm.
tell. Who wants to hear from me? What do I have to offer? Like, why is anyone going to listen? And that was why this was
Mhm.
incredibly uncomfortable for me, because it was just not something I ever thought anybody would care about. But you're right. Everybody does have a story, even if it's like something simple. Like there have been people who've been like, Carla, you should share that, because that really, resonated with me. And just that little bit makes it worth it. So even if you're able to impact one person in one little way,
Mhm.
that's share your story, because it's worth it.
And I
So
think the reminder, this goes into the last question, but I think as a reminder to everyone listening, like, nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. So if you're sitting around feeling like you're the only person, you're not. And when we remove that and we really accept that and understand that we're all just these human beings trying to get through it and figure it out, and we're all on this journey together, our stories and our successes and our failures, they help one another. So if we hold them to ourselves, we're not able to help the people that might need to hear them, and that
yeah.
goes with falling down. The last question would be then, what is your advice to someone listening right now that was where you are? What would you tell them?
I think first and foremost, like, take a look in the mirror and say to yourself that you are proud of who you are. Start with that point and just see where you can go from there. There's not a magic wand. There's not a light switch that you turn off and on that all of a sudden, oh, I now believe in myself. It is really that hard work. And going back to what you were saying right before about no, there's no such thing as perfection. And I have not met one person in my life that hasn't struggled with something. And when I start sharing what I'm struggling with, what I realize is other people are willing to open up as well. And it's really funny. So my daughter and I have a podcast together, and we were talking about something, embarrassing moments that maybe shouldn't be so embarrassing. And so one of the things we say is that we don't believe people, we can't trust a person who says that they've never shit their pants. So, so it goes back to the thing that, yeah, I know you love that one, right? That it's we have to look at ourselves and understand that everybody struggles with something. And so by putting someone else on a pedestal, that they are struggling as well. And if you have a conversation with that person, you'll realize that, hey, we can help each other. And to me, again, going back to women, helping women, that's so important. And really look at yourselves and say, I matter. I have value. I'm making a difference. Every little thing we do makes a difference in the world, whether it's being kind to someone, helping with something that you didn't think you would ever help with. Whatever you're doing, you're making a difference in the world, and give yourself credit for it. Whether it's cooking dinner for your family at night, whatever it is, give yourself credit for it and realize that you are impacting other people.
Ugh, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is super powerful, and that resonates. Everyone that we've been
Yeah.
interviewing right now is
Yeah.
really hitting me hard right now.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate really appreciate your message. It is very, very powerful. We want to share your book, your
Your
podcast,
podcast.
everything it is that you want to share. Please tell us where people can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. My book is called The Extraordinary Unordinary You. And it is all about realizing what you're capable of and recognizing that the little things you do every day matter. Stories about, we adopted our youngest 3 kids, so their stories, and climbing Kilimanjaro. There's lots of ridiculous, funny stories in there because you got to share all the ridiculous too. And our podcast is called the Daughter Dearest Podcast, and we do a weekly show. Right now, it's just been my daughter and I. Actually, my older daughter came on as a guest the other day, but we'll probably be bringing guests on. But it's just authentic mother-daughter conversations. We talk about what you're thinking inside your head. So again, it's okay to shit your pants. Yes. And then you can find me on social media, Simone Canego. I'm the only one out there, so with that name. So you can find me anywhere you look. So I love it. I love speaking. I love sharing stories. And I'm working on a second book right now, actually, and it's going to be called Label Me Not, and all about getting rid of the labels that we place upon ourselves or that society puts on us. So,
okay. Well, I'm going to be reading both these books.
thank you.
And I'm going to check out once my daughter is able to put sentences together, maybe down the line, we can be on your podcast.
It's really fun. It's been really fun. So
my daughter's getting to an older age, so as she continues, maybe we'll be able to listen to some of those episodes together, because that's really fun and so special. What a special thing to have with your daughter. I love that so much.
Thank you.
We're so grateful that this worked and that you came on and took the time to share your story. It's so inspiring. I too will be reading your book, and everybody go check out her podcast. We've got a bunch of mamas that are listening, so I know you guys will love that. Go read her book, go support, go be inspired. And then, like she said, go to Instagram. She's the only one out there. She's the one and only. And then we're just so grateful. Thank you for taking this time with us.
Thank you so much for having me here today. I loved it.
Thank you so much. And this is where we're going to say,
just F it.